Hey guys, so this video is going to be on the care of betta fish, or betta splendens. And of course, as mine runs behind the filter. You can see there I have a white and a bit of purple and blue in him. And he is a double tail or split tail or whatever you want to call him. A male betta. So for tank size, I would recommend really nothing less than 2 gallons for one. Even 2 gallons is a bit small. If you want to see them be more active, get at least a 5 to 10 gallon tank. This is a 10 gallon tank. Even 2 gallon tank to be kind of active, but not very, and a 5 gallon tank to be a lot more active, especially if they're by themselves. And 10 gallon tank to be even more active. Pretty much the bigger the tank, the more active they'll be. You just don't want to get a tank that's too deep for them to where they cannot get air, as they do need to be able to breathe from the air on the top of the tank. So you want to be careful on that. And then, and pretty much anything less than 2 gallons, I mean even a gallon or whatever, they seem to act more dead than anything. Just kind of lay around on the ground doing nothing. Which given it'll do even in a bigger tank, just not nowhere near as much as it would in a tiny tank like a 1 gallon or less. So that's for tank size. Now I would recommend getting a filter. Before today, on this tank I actually just had a sponge filter on it, and it was just fine for these guys. Otherwise, like now I have the Aqueon, I think it's called Quiet Flow 10, for 10 gallon tanks or so, and this will help keep the tank cleaner. So the current's not too strong for the betta. It's not in this size of a tank. Help keep the tank cleaner. Make it so the water's not all nasty looking. And it'll give them a bit more air too in the fish tank, like the water itself, which I know isn't needed for a betta, but it just makes the tank look nicer. Then also, if you don't have anything that's agitating the water surface, you'll get like it kind of looks like an oil look to it, and it just looks nasty. So I'd recommend at least some type of filter, or something to at least get the water agitated, so that way you don't get that slimy oil look to it. It's pretty nasty. Now bettas do need to be in water that's over 70 degrees. I keep mine around 76 or so, thanks to my 50-watt heater in the back there. That's preset to about 76 or 78, one of the two. I can't remember which. It's somewhere around there though. But anything under 70 degrees Fahrenheit, bettas can stop eating, and they just won't. They'll pretty much die on you. Especially if it gets too cold, they'll die, because they won't eat, and they can get funguses and sicknesses from too cold of water, which is another reason why to keep your water nice and warm. Which is also another reason why I get a bigger tank, because then you can actually put a decent filter in it. Or heater in it, sorry, I don't know why I said filter that time. Alright, now as far as roommates for your betta, you can see I have 2 Pallades in here. Both of them are just females. So Pallades usually work okay. Mellies will work okay. Non-aggressive fish pretty much will work good with them. You don't want anything that's too flary, anything that's too brightly colored, or anything that's too long of fins, as the betta may mistake it for another male betta and attack them, which is not a good thing. Then you'll have a dead whatever on your hands. And you definitely don't want to put them in with anything that's too aggressive, such as like an Oscar or any big types of cichlids or anything like that, as the betta might get killed or eaten. Oscars will eat bettas even, so don't want to do anything like that. Now you can put snails in there for algae cleaning, which I have 2 of these guys. My camera wants to focus in. 2 of them, they're both nearite snails. I'm not sure where the other one is. And then I also have about 3 or 4 of these ghost shrimp. Of course, it doesn't want to focus in again. There's about 3 or 4 of these guys, which will help pick up uneaten food, help keep the tank nice and clean. Same with the snail. Sorry, I can't think. And then you can also put like cory cats in here. You can put Pocosimises in here. Then if you get a female betta instead of a male, they're not as aggressive, so you'd be more likely to get away with putting things in with them. And again, the bigger your tank is, the more stuff you can put in there without having trouble. I would not recommend putting anything in with a beta besides maybe a snail or some of the ghost shrimp, and anything that's less than 10 gallons, like this is 10 gallons, just because it gives him a bit more room to call his own territory. And anything smarter than this, he might take over the entire tank and kill everything. Even in a 5-gallon tank, he might still kill the ghost shrimp and the snails. And it also depends on how aggressive your beta is. Like mine is a big wimp. He runs away from like everything, so I could probably put almost anything in here and you would be okay with him, except for another beta. But then you might get a beta that's very aggressive and it'll kill anything you put in there, even snails and shrimp. And now ghost shrimp are often used as food, and they're usually pretty cheap. And on the store I work at, it sells them for about 50 cents each, or it's like 2 for $1. So I mean, and if they do get eaten, it doesn't really matter as much. Now, for as far as ornaments and stuff, you can see I have some plants in here. I've noticed that they seem to prefer broad-leafed plants. So, as you can see, like those, not this one, but like the one in the back and this one, they'll kind of rest on them. He'll rest on this too, but he seems like those two better. Or he'll even come over here and rest on these. So like that. You can give them somewhere to hide, which I actually do not have in here. You can put them in like a cave or something. Some will use them, some will not. As far as substrate, I'd go with gravel. It just, to me, it's easier to clean. But you can do pretty much anything you want. Put sand, you can put in marbles, the glass marbles. You can put in gravel like I have here. You can put in pretty much any type of substrate you want, as long as it's good for freshwater fish and will not kill them. So you don't want to be putting in like saltwater live sand or something like that. And then as far as food, well, I have a whole bunch of different foods that I feed mine. My #1 recommended food, well, it's kind of a tie between Omega-1. It's made of all real fresh seafood. They come in pellets, they come in flakes, they come in algae wafers, which I also have here. Which the beta will actually pick on these for a second or two before getting bored of them. Or I would recommend, see here, new light spectrum. Not this one specifically, but this one's for crustaceans, so like the shrimp and stuff. But this is one I feed them. I grabbed the wrong one the first time. This again is made with all real stuff. It's very good for them. This is a lot more expensive though than Omega-1 is. But people will argue that this is the very best food that you can give them, even better than Omega-1. I like them both the same. And here's another one. This one is a bit bigger pellets than the second one was there. And the first one was just for crustaceans, really. So feed them those. So otherwise, you can get, also feed them this stuff, Aqueon Tropical Flakes. Good for any tropical fish. Not as good as Omega-1 is by any means, but it's still decent stuff. So that's about all. So I mean, and then you can also feed them like bloodworms. You can feed them like mysis shrimp. You can feed them different worms and things like that. They'll eat. They might eat some bugs for you. I've got mine to eat a tiny cricket before, like a pinhead cricket. It was pretty awesome to watch them eat that. And then there's of course different brands and stuff, but my recommended brands are Omega-1 or New Life Spectrum. Those are my favorite, and they're very high quality. And Omega-1 is not actually, it's about as expensive as other food brands are, like Tetra and Aqueon and stuff, but it's a lot better food for them. Alright, so there you guys go. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a good day. Goodbye.